Yo, what up? How you guys doing out there today? This is your boy Roto Beast. I'm here with my boy Jeremy. We're to present you our MLB On Deck segment for Wednesday, July 3rd. If you're new to this channel, please make sure and click the subscribe button below so you can watch all of our MLB, NBA, and NFL videos. If you haven't came and checked out our website here at dfscheatsheet.com, you're absolutely missing out. We have all the tools to help you compete with the pros day in and day out, including a complete optimizer, tons of content, daily FanDuel, and DraftKings cash lineups. Hey, we're truly a one-stop shop for all your DFS needs. So make sure you can check out the site here at dfscheatsheet.com. So, hey, what up, Jeremy? How you doing out there, bro?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Doing pretty good, bro. Pretty good night last night in MLB. Cash lines went absolute crazy. Customers made a bunch of money, so I'm very happy. I'm ready to kind of run it back tonight. We were pretty spot on with this video yesterday, and let's try to continue this week rolling, man.
Yeah, hey, if you're watching this video and you're watching this video to get information or whatever, and you're not a member yet, I'm just gonna tell you, like the cash line last night scored what, 229?
Yeah, 229.
That was our cash line. And then if you back that up and you played tournaments and you listen to our deep dive, if you didn't have any exposure to Tyler Beatty to stack up with Coors Field, so you could go 4x4. Beatty had 40 fantasy points last night at 6.2, and you didn't stack up the Giants, who were all under 2,700. You kind of messed up. The Giants scored 10 runs again last night, and they were like my second favorite team on the deep dive last night. So I don't know what everybody's waiting for. You're watching our YouTube videos, but you're not subscribing to the site. You got nothing to lose. 2 weeks free. Try it out. Get the information. Learn how to be a better player.
For sure, man. I had Charlie Morton in cash, and he was actually he was lower owned than I expected. It was a bigger slate though, but he ended up going out and giving us 65 fantasy points. Once I seen him rolling, I was like, okay, today's gonna be a good one for sure.
We also picked the Angels yesterday, and not a lot of people did to go nuts. We could briefly talk about that because we were just discussing it before we hopped on the video.
We'll get to that when we get to that game. I do like I like some bats in that game for sure.
Let's go.
Okay, so as always, this video is more of an overview, kind of get you a general idea of where we're at earlier in the day. If you want a more in-depth analysis, check out the site, dfscheatsheet.com. Like Jeremy said, man, we've been on absolute fire. Don't miss out, and let's get it, man. So I'm going to start right with the main event. We're going to go straight to Colorado. Love this game once again like we did last night. It's hot out there. Balls are going to be flying. I'll start with the Houston side of things first. They get a matchup against Peter Lambert, gives up a 45% hard contact, 457 ISO to lefties, 179 ISO to righties. And the Houston as a team, they have a 194 team ISO. I legitimately think to keep it simple, basically, if you're in this Houston lineup today, you're going to want to consider them. They got all their guys back right now. Altuve, Springer, Reddick swinging a really good bat. We talk about that we like lefties going against Lambert. You got to throw in Brantley in there as well. I mean, we could go on and on. I definitely think that Houston is probably the top stack on this slate. And then on the flip side of things, you get Colorado, a team that have some guys that hit lefties very well. They get a matchup against Wade Miley, who gives up a 38% hard contact rate. 111 ISO to lefties, 167 ISO to righties. So Wade Miley hasn't been bad, but it was just like what I told you guys yesterday. Houston going against, it was Marquez, right?
Yeah, and bro, one thing that we said yesterday was Walker Buehler and Hyun-Jin Ryu got blown up, and Ryu, arguably the best pitcher in the National League so far, he just got blown up. And yesterday wasn't even hot there. It was 70 degrees at first pitch, and the wind was blowing out. Today it's 90 degrees at first pitch. So good luck, Wade Miley.
Yeah, for sure. So, hey, keep it simple. I mean, this is the main event. You want to try to get as much exposure.
One quick thing, bro, that I want to touch on really quick, right? Everybody talks about the altitude and how it affects hitters, right? And the ball carries, the air's, it's thin air, blah, 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 right? I cannot stand – look, I know you're a Dodger fan, and I watch my fiance's a Dodger fan. We watch a lot of Dodger baseball, but I always flip it to the opposing team because I can't stand listening to Oral Hershiser and whoever this guy is they have as their announcer. They're the biggest homers in the world. Like the Dodgers never do anything wrong. But the other night when Ryu pitched, I happened to have it on the Dodger channel, and what Hershiser was explaining, he was explaining something I've never heard before about Coors Field. What he was explaining is that the ball doesn't move at altitude like it moves everywhere else. So if you're a cutter pitcher, like Wade Miley is, he's kind of reinvented himself with a cutter. That cutter, if it breaks, say, 6 inches into a right-handed hitter, and you've been getting a lot of jam shot ground balls, that thing's only going to cut about 2 to 3 inches at altitude. That's why you can look at a pitcher like a Walker Buehler, and you can look at a pitcher like Hyun-Jin Ryu, who rely on movement. Buehler gets a lot of movement with that four-seam fastball, probably the best four-seam fastball in baseball, and he got blown up because it made his fastball flat. Ryu with the curveball. You can look at Joe Kelly when he was there, working on his curveball, knuckle curveball, not getting any movement, and those guys gave up a lot of runs. You're talking about a cutter, a pitcher, and Wade Miley who throws a cutter. That thing ain't going to move today.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying completely for sure. Yeah, so I mean, this game is the game where you really want to be. I mean, there's not really no way around it. Love the exposure on both sides of this game. Moving outside of this game, I'll just go to the next game. I'll go to this game just because I like both sides as well. You got the Angels against Texas. We'll just get into it. You know, we talked about it. We know what happened. You know, with the Angels and their teammate, and they're very emotional right now. And, you know, I think they're going to bond together. You were telling me the same thing. And I think that the Angels are going to come out today and they're going to put up a bunch of runs. It's hot in Texas. We talk about the Texas ballpark. You know, last year gave up more runs than any other ballpark in the league. Angels get a matchup today against Ariel Gerardo, 40% hard contact, 159 ISO to lefties, 195 ISO to righties. And, I mean, you know, just like you were saying, sometimes, you know, numbers got to get thrown out the window. They're playing for their teammate. It's very, very hot. I really like the Angels, man. I think the Angels are going to put up a bunch of runs today in this hot ballpark in Texas. I mean, you can basically look at, you know, everybody that's going to be in the lineup. I mean, the guys obviously that are stand out. You can look at LaStella, Trout, Otani, Upton, Calhoun. You know, Simmons is even in play. But I really like these Angels. And on the flip side of things, it could go one or two ways. You know, we talk about the Angels are going with a lot of emotions right now, so they get a matchup. Texas gets a matchup against Griffin Canning today. 40% hard contact, 219 ISO to lefties, 236 ISO to righties. You know, Griffin Canning, he's actually a really good pitcher. He throws he throws a fastball 96 miles an hour. He can come out today and he can absolutely mow down Texas, you know, pitching off emotions, and it can happen. You know, that, you know, at the same time, Texas does have a really good matchup, and Texas could come out and put a bunch of runs up against Griffin Canning. What's your thoughts on this game and the whole kind of situation?
I think that this would be a completely different situation if this would have happened and they would have been at home. I think it would have been a completely different situation. And what I mean by that is a couple of things. One, his locker is at home. They're going to have to walk past that locker, right? When you're at home, no matter what the circumstances are, in this case, it just happens to be that a teammate passed away. No matter what the circumstances are, when you're at home, you're much more relaxed than you are staying in a hotel. You're much more relaxed. You got family, your routine's a little bit different. These guys are on the road right now. Yesterday, I said on the deep dive that I love Mike Minor. I've talked about Mike Minor every time he's pitched. And I wanted nothing to do with Mike Minor yesterday. I just felt that these guys are on the road. They have nothing else to do besides be with each other or sit in their hotel room. Well, I guarantee you that they weren't going to sit in their hotel room alone. They probably and I thought they would all be with each other. Come to find out, I stacked the Angels up, avoided Mike Minor. Come to find out, I flipped the game on. The game's going to start, and the Angels announcers are talking about this team stayed up all night with each other, laughing, telling stories, crying, getting their emotions out, eating food together. They just spent time with each other, stayed up really late, and then they came out and they put up 9 runs last night. Look, the guy who pitched, I can't think of his name, Suarez, I think it is, who pitched for Anaheim yesterday, had very high ISOs against him for both sides of the plate and very low K percentages. He struck out 7 guys in 4 innings yesterday. He pitched out of his mind. Sometimes you got to just throw the numbers away and look. This is a team that's on the road. They've got nothing else to do besides be with each other and play for their teammate. When they get home, I think it'll be a little bit different. I think you'll see an emotional letdown. They're going to have to deal with this guy's funeral. They're going to have to deal with all of the emotions that go with that. I think it'll be quite a bit different when they get back home. But this is a team that has the talent to make a move for a pitcher before the All-Star break and make a playoff run. And they could do one of two things. They could band together and play, or they can let their emotions overcome them and they can give into it. I think, again, they come out today and they put up a bunch of freaking runs and play for their teammate.
Yeah, no, I definitely I like this game. I like this game a lot. You know, I'm a little bit iffy on Texas, but I definitely think that they're a good stack. I really like the Angels a lot today.
The thing about Griffin Canning, really quick, and I'll get more about Canning when I do pitching, but he has over a 25% K percentage to each side of the plate. So he does have higher ISO numbers against him, but they're barely qualifying at the 200 mark for me. That's my qualifier in ISO is 200. They're barely over 200. And this guy has electric fastball, slider, curveball, changeup. I mean, it's electric stuff. So I'm not, you throw out those numbers a little bit and you kind of say, okay, and he's going to pitch a little bit off emotion here for his buddy. I like Griffin Canning a lot today.
Yeah, for sure. So moving outside of this game, obviously I like the Colorado game. I like the Texas game. Both sides, those are 4 teams that you could target right there. Outside of that, a couple other teams really standing out. I like the Boston Red Sox today. They get a matchup against Jacob Waguespack. I know you're gonna laugh at me. Jacob Waguespack or something. How do you say it?
Waguespack.
Waguespack, yeah. The guy, he's very small sample size, 25% hard contact rate, 0 ISO to lefties, 222 ISO to righties. Boston has some big time righties. You got Betts, you got JD Martinez, you got Bogarts in there. And on the flip side, you can still target Benintendi. Devers had a really good game yesterday. Brock Holt is coming in on a cheaper end. He's definitely in play. I like these Boston guys going against this young guy. And then I'm going to go to Atlanta. I think Atlanta's in play at home. We call Atlanta the Coors Field of the East. Really good hitting environment. It's hot there. They get a matchup against Nick Pivetta, 38% hard contact rate, 192 ISO to lefties, 172 ISO to righties. You want to target him with the lefties, and guess what? Atlanta has a bunch of really good lefties. Freeman, Markakis, Albies definitely in play. I'm still targeting them with the righties. You got Acuna, Swanson, Donaldson. Even the young guy, Austin Riley, definitely has some pop in that bat. So Atlanta's definitely in play. And then lastly, a team that I just quickly want to throw in there, I just had to mention them. I like St. Louis. I like the Cardinals. They get a matchup today against Mike Leake. He gives up a 41% hard contact rate, 212 ISO to lefties, 258 ISO to righties. Yesterday we had him in our cash line. Jose Martinez came in on the cheaper end, had a really monster game for us. Could go right back to the well right there. Paul Goldschmidt, DeJong definitely in play. Dexter Fowler. Cardinals, they're kind of on the bottom end of my teams that I'm really looking at, but I think that they're a team that's going to be lower owned. And whenever Mike Leake is pitching, I definitely like attacking Mike Leake. So just kind of sum it up. I like Houston, Colorado. Obviously the Angels, Texas, Boston, Atlanta, and St. Louis are some teams that are really jumping out to me earlier. There's obviously a bunch of other spots on a really big slate. So that's kind of where I'm at so far. Where are you at for today, and where are you at pitching wise?
Yeah, look, I mean, you need a couple of spots to go off so that you can also pay up for pitching and get some exposure. Otherwise, you're looking at with the price tags of Coors Field and the price tags of the upper echelon of pitchers today. Walker Buehler's 10-1. You've got Chris Sale at 11-2, 11-8 on DK. Buehler 10-9 on DK. You've got Domingo Germán, really good price on FanDuel at 8-1. You could definitely fit him in with some core stacks, but 10-1 on DK, that's a little bit tougher. So with the upper echelon pitching, you're going to have to look at like yesterday was finding a team to stack with one of the teams at Coors Field who's in a good spot, who has very affordable price tags, so you can get a top-tier pitcher. And you're also going to have to find some value spots at pitching that have guys who have an opportunity to get you a win, a quality start, and 4, 5, 6 strikeouts. So who are those guys? Obviously, the value plays you can look at Ariel Gerardo, I'm going to mention him as a tournament play, a guy who you could get decent amount of exposure to. And when I say decent, if you're building 150 lineups, no more than 10 to 12%. But Gerardo's a guy that he's pitched very well for the most part as a starter this year. You mentioned his ISO numbers. They're below 200 against both sides of the plate, coming off a very solid start. I believe 8 innings pitched against Detroit last Wednesday or Thursday. So Gerardo's pitched really well, and he's pitched very decent in Arlington. So, yes, it's hot. Yes, all the stuff we mentioned with the Angels, but throwing all that aside and looking only at numbers, Gerardo at his price tag is a guy you could take a look at. Jason Vargas, people are not going to want to load him up. His price tag on FanDuel is 6.3. Vargas has reinvented himself somehow, and this guy is not the gas can that he was for the first part of last year and the first part of this year, kind of mirroring what he did in the second half last year. He pitched pretty decent for them. John Means, another guy, 8.6. Means is a guy that I've recommended using all year long. I'll continue to say I like him. Let's talk briefly about 4 guys, though, that nobody probably knows anything about. You mentioned Wagyu Spack. So this guy in AAA this year, he's pitched he started 11 games. He's 2-6 with a 5.30 ERA, 52 2/3 innings pitched. He's not making his debut. He has pitched for Toronto one time this season. He pitched against Tampa Bay on May the 27th. 4 innings pitched, 7 strikeouts, 2 earned runs, 27 FanDuel points. So, if you look at his AAA numbers, it looks like a guy that could get blown up. Boston, they've got a lot of right-handed bats. They don't have too many left-handed bats. We don't know how many innings Wagyu Speck will pitch, but it could be a guy that you take a single entry or 3 entry max flyer with. Maybe he gets you 5 innings. You stack Coors Field with him. I don't recommend getting a ton of exposure to this guy, though, because Boston definitely is a much better team than what this guy is as a pitcher. So that's one guy. Austin Pruitt, going to be recalled from AAA to pitch. One other thing about Wagyu Speck is only being recalled because Sean Foley-Reed had to pitch yesterday. And that one, Reed Foley was supposed to start today, but he had to pitch yesterday because that game got out of hand. So they recalled Wagyu Speck. Austin Pruitt's being recalled. I believe they sent Ryan Yarbrough and another pitcher down. I was kind of surprised by who it was, and now I can't think of who it was. But Pruitt in 6 games this year with Tampa Bay, he's 1-0 with a 5.74 ERA. He will follow Stenik most likely. He's 3-2 with a 5.61 ERA in 12 games at AAA. I don't recommend using Austin Pruitt. Bryce Wilson will start for the Braves. Look, here's a funny thing. The Braves have, I believe, the 3rd highest implied run total at 6.2. Philadelphia, that game has an 11.5 over-under. Philadelphia is way down the board, like 12th, I think, in implied run total on a big slate. It could get lost. Philadelphia has an implied run total of 5.3. So you can look at Philadelphia. They're going against a pitcher when you dive into them. In 3 games this year in Major League Baseball, March 30th, 3 1/3 against Philadelphia, 3 Ks, 4 earned runs. He pitched one inning on April 26th against Colorado, had 1 K, no earned runs. Pitched 430 innings at Chicago on June 27th. That was his last outing, his first start. 6 Ks and 4 earned runs. So he has the opportunity to get you strikeout upside. Philadelphia with a 5.3 implied run total. Philadelphia is a team that I think might be sneaky. Atlanta does have the 3rd best bullpen, so it's not a great team to target, but it could be a team that's sneaky that could get on Bryce Wilson fairly quick and put some runs up. And then I'm going back to the well with the Giants. It's a team you left off, and I'm going to talk about Cal Quantrill. He's been coming out of the bullpen. He started the year as a starter. It's another one of these really good young arms. Look, plain and simple, the Giants are hot. This team's hitting the crap out of the baseball right now. You look at, they wrecked Robbie Ray. They wrecked Logan Allen. You look at last Friday's game, last Saturday's game where they won and put up a lot of runs. In 2 games so far in San Diego, they scored 13 and 10 runs. They're hitting the ball all over the yard. I mentioned yesterday on the deep dive, I think also on this On Deck video, that they've moved the fences in recent years 2 times at Petco Park. There's the ability for some power to be there. And also in that game, another guy that nobody knows anything about, and that's Sean Anderson. Anderson's pitched really well, sub 200 ISOs against him for both sides of the plate. He doesn't have a ton of K upside, but at his price tag, it's another guy that has the opportunity to go out there and maybe put a quality start and get a win on the board. and give you 35 to 40 fantasy points at a sub 7,000 price tag and let you stack the full game stack between Colorado and Houston. So that's where I'm at with pitching. I wanted to make sure we mention the guys that nobody knows anything about, because you're going to just think, who are these pitchers? Let me just stack against them. But Cal Contrell's a guy that I wouldn't recommend using as a starter. He's a righty. The Giants have wrecked 2 left-handed pitching options in Robbie Ray and Logan Allen in 2 of the last 3 days. And coming into that game against Robbie Ray, they had a 114 ISO and a 25.6 K percentage against left-handed pitching. Against right-handed pitching, they were at 160 with a sub 25% K percentage. So they obviously have more lefties in their lineup. They hit right-handed pitching much better than they do left-handed pitching. If they're hot, now you got a team that's got 4, 5, 6 lefties in it going against a right-handed pitcher who's been all over the place. He's started. He's come out of the bullpen. The Padres are going to start a new pitcher or a AAA option in every game from now through the All-Star break. So the Padres pitching staff is going to be something to look at as something we could possibly target every day going forward until Sunday.
For sure. So, I mean, that's kind of where we're at. I mean, very, very informative video. We got to hit a lot of really good spots. If you want a more in-depth analysis, make sure to check Jeremy's deep dive segment that he'll have up shortly. Make sure to check my MLB daily core video, kind of 5 guys that I think should be in all your cash lines. We got a couple other content pieces up every single day. Plus, we have NHL up on the weekends, NASCAR, PGA, MMA, truly your one-stop shop for our DFS needs. Check out the site, dfscheatsheet.com. And hey, good luck on your guys' contest tonight, all right? Peace out.